very big hello and welcome. The purpose of this small demonstration is to give you an idea as to how a class typically would flow and how the students would interact in the class and what would be in general broadly the learning process. So we're doing it in reference to a topic, and that is on wave motion. So let's begin the class like this. That is, to understand the class there are certain prerequisites which are listed here. For example, basic knowledge of waves, interference, and a little bit idea of the wave equation. We go into the actual topic where we introduce the topic, we get into the definition, and we see certain intricacies in the definition. For example, a wave traveling without matter traveling. Now how does that happen really? So for that we can take up some real life examples. For example, demonstration using a string wave. We get into the different types of waves which are there and which is there in a syllabus. We also get into the equation part of it. There is the mathematical part of it in small amount of details in this slide. In the next one we take up the fundamental idea of this chapter, and that is that of the traveling wave. What is a traveling wave? A wave which travels. Now in reference to that we also look into the equation. The same equation we can also look at using an animation which is right now here in front of you. So as we see a particle vibrating, this is a typical traveling wave, a particle vibrating, the plot of the displacement of the particle takes place alongside. It actually improves the visualization and understanding of the idea of a traveling wave. So all the plottings are there, it would be repeated once or twice so that the child also gets to know what exactly is it. We go back to the equation and then we learn about the equation and its following application, which is a small question to understand how exactly we solve it in reference to the equation that we have already studied. However, when it comes to application of traveling wave, the fundamental idea is of superposition of waves, which actually is actually a phenomenon in which two waves mix together. Now when they mix together, they produce a resultant which has a mathematical implication, as you can see in the slide. There are two types of superposition. One is constructive, one is destructive. One in which things add up and the other in which things subtract. So all these are there mathematically, and they produce what is commonly called as standing wave. Now we can demonstrate a standing wave by taking a small string, and this is what can be typically talked about as far as a standing wave is concerned. Now you can see the string vibrating. So the edge is at constant motion, that is zero motion, which is at rest, whereas the center is moving. So typically if you plot it, this is how you see a wave. For example, if you look at these are the two edges and the string is tied between these two, so you can easily see that this is where the string vibrates the maximum and this is where the string is at rest. So this is what is typically an example of a standing wave used in different instruments. We then go on to after this we have a small mathematical implication which we show in this slide, and then go on to the problem solving part. Okay, so in the problem solving we have a sequence of problems in which we solve it in an interactive manner and the student learns in the process. We have a series of problems. Some of them are subjective ones, and some of them are objective ones as well. So you have a series of subjective as well as objective questions as in whatever is necessary. In the end of the class, we give a description as to what are the things that a child has to study before he comes to the next class, and of course wind up by giving a small assignment which pertains to whatever the child has learned on that particular day. That more or less sums up a class in which things are done in an interactive manner through animations and videos to enhance the learning. And just to understand whether one has learnt or not, there are numericals which substantiates it, and finally to wind up there's an assignment to go home and understand whether one has really understood the topic well or not. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. I hope that makes it more or less clear as to how a normal class would go on. Thank you.